Hi, welcome back to the show. This is Michael Ellis Show. I'm your host, Michael Ellis, and today we've got Andi Sue on the show. And Andi Sue is a hypothyroidism survivor. I struggle with that word, I really do. But how are you today, Andi?
I'm great. How are you?
I am fantastic. So, for the viewers at home, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, your journey, and how you got to where you are today in life?
Absolutely. I found out in about, I think it was like 2004, 2005, I had thyroid issues. I had just had twins. So I had a 23-month-old and twins in 2003. I was too busy. I was a single mom. My thyroid didn't matter to me. I brushed it off. I'm like, whatever, I don't care. 2004, 2005 rolls in. I can't swallow. I'm growing things in my throat. I'm like, what in the world's going on? I went to the doctor. They never tried to put me on meds. I never went back for another appointment till like 5, 6, 7 years later. Life got busy. And then it was to the point where I was choking just drinking water. So we had to do something. The doctor is like, hey, your goiters and nodules are too big to biopsy. We got to remove it. We can't even tell if you have cancer or not. So it was 2012, my fiance passed away. 2013, I lost my gram. 2014, cancer scare. And from there, my life has totally evolved into something I never knew it could be. And when I went to have my thyroid removed, the doctor never referred me to a nutritionist, a dietitian, never said, hey, this is what's going to happen. Your life isn't going to be normal. You're going to be tired. Your body's going to hurt. For no reason, you can gain 20 pounds and lose 20 pounds 3 weeks later. There was so much uncertainty that I've spent the last couple of years really focused on how to help others, because I know that I wish somebody would have helped me. I wish I would have been given options, i.e. somebody saying, hey, look, if you don't try this medication, you're going to get really bad. And I would have tried the meds before I had the removal, because I didn't realize how much my life was going to change upon my thyroid removal.
Okay, so you have you had your thyroid removed now?
2014. So it was 7 years this past January.
And it was seven years ago. Wow.
Yes.
So what's it?
I'm sorry.
What some of the effects that having your thyroid removed?
Fatigue.
I mean, yeah,
Fatigue was a huge one. I slipped into a depression. I got a lot of bloating. I realize now that I don't eat a lot of gluten per se bread. I'm not a sandwich type of person. But if I go out and I try to share a sandwich with somebody, I look like a water buffalo. There's no eating it at all.
Right, cool. And so obviously from that 7 years, you've learned a lot in that time, and
Yes.
you've obviously come a long way. What are some of the things that what are some of the challenges that you've come across, and how did you learn to get over it?
I think the biggest challenge is my diet, because I was a single mom. I was always on the go. It was finding foods that I could eat. So I've learned that, okay, you know what? The kids can have bread in the house, but I'm going to literally have romaine lettuce. I like my lettuce wraps. I don't miss having bread. Dairy, I swell up just with dairy as well. So the kids want their ice cream, I make sure I have some type of a soy ice cream or a little bit of a gelato, something that doesn't contain that cow's protein that I'm actually intolerant with. So when I go grocery shopping, it's I get my leafy greens. I get some little snacks. I still eat my dark chocolate. I don't eat it a lot, but I haven't given that up. I don't deny myself the things that I want, because I don't want to be that person that binge eats them and then I'm miserable.
Cool. So obviously now you've gone into helping others with this process.
Correct.
However, you said that you wasn't really a bready person anyway. You liked your you sort of liked your greens and stuff like that before. So obviously you will come across now people that do enjoy all them stuff, and all the stuff that you would struggle to eat now, and they find it extremely difficult to give that up, as anybody would.
Right.
How do you manage that with the people that you help now getting through this?
Right. I get to know them. I get to know their why. Why do they want that bread? Is it because they really want that bread, or is it because it's like that mental, I need the bread, like the hand to mouth when you're a smoker and then you try to quit? Like, is it the explain to me what it is about that bread or why you feel you need that glass of milk? Like, tell me what it is. And then I'm like, humor me, give me 2 weeks. Put the breads down, put anything, put the rice and the pastas, all that gluten-y stuff down. Humor me. And a couple of people, I'll get them to switch their minds. And a couple of people are like, you know what? I still need my bread. I'm going to just go gluten-free bread. And they don't eat it as much, but they humor me. And they're like, okay, this girl's, she has to know what she's talking about. She's here for a reason. She wants to help you change your life for a reason. She's giving you her time for a reason.
Do you have gluten-free bread?
I have some in the freezer. Occasionally I'll eat it. I eat my son was home a couple weekends ago. He cooked breakfast. I went and bought some gluten-free English muffins because I knew what he was going to make. So it's in the freezer. And I mean, I think I've had bread in the freezer for 6 months. But then I have to realize too, like if I go to toast my bread, I need a separate toaster because it's the cross contamination.
Right. So is cross-contamination a serious problem?
It can be if you have a serious gluten intolerance, yes.
Right. Because it's not like an allergy per se. It's not going to kill you, is it?
It's not going to kill you. No, it can make you bloated. It can make you swell. It can make you honestly be incontinent for a couple of days. Sometimes it causes my eyes to get itchy. So it's kind of like an allergy, but it's not deathly serious. It can cause me constipation.
And so you mentioned that you suffered a lot of fatigue after the operation and removing your thyroid.
It was about a year later. The first 6 months I was in the gym and I was working out really heavy and lifting weights really heavy, and I think I was in the best shape of my life in those first 6 months of having my thyroid removed. And after that my body just started crashing.
So do you know the reason why that happens?
I think my body just got to the point of it wasn't functioning with everything it's supposed to function with, and it's trying to function off of something generic.
Okay. And what did you have to put into place to get yourself over that and come out?
Vitamins. A lot of vitamins. I'm getting my vitamin B and my vitamin D level checked every 3 months. I make sure I have my magnesium because I do realize that even now working out, it's harder for me to recuperate. So I have to have my magnesium. Water, lots and lots of water. I get I get about a gallon a day. But I know when I start getting the water sluggishness that I can back it off for a day or two. Let my body process the water and then go back. I do drink my coffee, but I drink black coffee. And I try to drink the more expensive coffee so it doesn't have all those chemicals in it when they process it. I mean, I've had coffee flown in from Hawaii. It's $40 a bag.
Okay, so it's an extremely difficult process with anybody, regardless whether if you've got hypothyroidism or not, in terms of managing your weight and keeping a level of fitness. So hypothyroidism just adds that level of complexity on top. But do you find that people who are suffering with that and actually want to make a change in their lives have more motivation than people that don't?
What I'm coming across is people want to make the change, but they don't want to stick with the change to keep the change. They're good with it for one. They've got a wedding, so they want to drop 20. With any weight loss, they've got a wedding, they want to drop 20 pounds. How can I drop it? Okay, well, I sit down with you, ask questions. We'll get on a quick Zoom call. And what don't you like? What are you allergic to? What foods can I count on you eating? And then I customize a meal plan for them. And I'm noticing with that customized meal plan, because it does include like a grocery list and a legit breakdown of everything, that my clients are more apt to keep going. It's when I don't hand them everything, when they have to do the work themselves. They run into a husband that's like, you're crazy, you're just making an excuse, because they don't understand themselves.
Interesting. So if you hand a lot of the stuff over to them in terms of what they need, then they're more likely to do it. But if not, then they're not more likely to continue through with it. Why do you think that is?
Society, busy. Life is busy. And it's hard for a mom, a wife, a woman to take time out for themselves. I mean, that falsity that the woman's place is at home and they've got to raise the kids and they've got to clean the house and do the laundry. And that's not okay, because that woman, she's tired and she's not taking care of herself. And there are women that I've come across that have their husband come home and they're like, they get it. They've taken the time to do the research. They've taken the time to go to the doctor's appointments. They've paid money for a dietitian or a nutritionist, and they're watching them struggle. It's like they need a support system that's going to be 24/7, not just for right now. They need somebody to understand. And if they're exhausted and in bed, it's because their body's just shutting down and they're in pain. It's not because they're giving up. And they need somebody to support them through that. I know that a couple weeks ago, I literally cleaned my whole house, moved all my furniture, took my vitamins, ate healthy, and I hurt. I was in pain. And I don't get like that. I grew up on a farm. I've been a go-getter. I'm high strung. I've got a lot of energy. I talk fast. But there are days where I just crash.
Yeah, I can imagine so. I mean, well, to be honest, my wife has thyroid issues as well.
Oh, okay.
So I sort of understand where you come. I mean, she hasn't had her removed yet. Probably looking like it's going to go that way, but she hasn't had it removed yet.
Okay.
But she suffers from all these problems that you talk about. And as a husband, watching your wife go through that, it's horrible. It's horrible. So I can't imagine what it's like for you or her or anybody else who suffers from this. It's a real thing. It's a massively real thing, and it hits home. I mean, she suffers a lot from fatigue. She gets episodes of it, and a lot of times she's okay, and then all of a sudden, generally to do with vitamins, like I say, it's generally a vitamin D deficiency or an iron deficiency that triggers on the fatigue. And then she can't get out of bed for 2 days. It's crazy.
Right.
But it's horrible seeing your wife like that, and I can't imagine what it's like for you guys.
Right. And that puts us into the depression, the anxiety, and who's going to do the laundry and clean the house and bathe the kids and pay the bills, because, as a partner, you're supposed to be helping. That's your job, to help. That's not per se a job, but I guess you look at it as a job, to help your partner. So when she's laying there in bed and seeing you do everything because she's just so run down, that helps, that brings on that slip into depression. And that's a whole nother ball game, because then the doctors just want to medicate you even more. And I think one of the things I've noticed with like medication, I was on Synthroid for a while, and I usually lose weight on Synthroid and gain weight on levothyroxine. Those are the two common ones here in the States. Synthroid is actually filled with fillers that contain gluten. It's filled with a yellow dye number 5. And I was having brain fog. October of, what are we in, 21? October of 2019, I found liquid tyrosine, which is a form of levothyroxine, but there's no fillers. It's liquid, it's natural. There's 3 ingredients. My brain fog was gone in a month. My energy is slowly coming back. My weight is up and down, but that's from other things that I have going on in my life, not related, that sometimes, and I just crash and want to eat a piece of chocolate cake, and I know better. COVID was hard, the gym, my safety zone, my happy spot, my mental sanity was shut down. And it's like, how do you incorporate working out at home in front of somebody that doesn't understand why you're working out, or they don't understand how to work out, so they're criticizing you for doing it? And I've run into those situations with women. How can I work out at home with somebody who doesn't understand? And I start them off slow. I don't expect them to run to the store and buy weights. You've got a can of soup in your fridge. Here, let me show you a couple things you can do. Or in your pantry, let me show you a couple things you can do. You have a gallon of milk. Let me show you a couple things you can do. I try to utilize what they have at home to get them started and encourage and support. Now, it's just because you sign up with me and you pay for whatever, a nutrition plan or a fitness plan or both, I'm still there via my email. I'm an insomniac. If you message me at 2 a.m., it's highly likely you'll get a response at 2 a.m. because I'm up and my brain's going. Doesn't matter where you're at. My job in this world is to support and transform and encourage and give somebody something that they never thought they could find within themselves. My job is to bring that out.
That's amazing. That's so inspirational. So what's the typical process that you would take people through?
It would be like, a question, kind of like a questionnaire. Let me get to know you. Let me get to know your why. What is your why? It's like you walk into everyday life. What is your why? My why is my kids and my health, because if I don't have my health, I'm not going to be good for anything or anyone. And then it'll be like, okay, what is your long term? What is your short term? What kind of support do you have? And honestly, I don't try to get personal, but I like to know where they're at financially, so I know what foods to put into their meal plan, because I don't want them spending above their means. This isn't supposed to be stressful. This is supposed to be helpful. And it's like, if you sit here and tell me only got $200 to spend for a week of groceries, I will make that meal plan work in that $200. If you're like, I got $500 to spend and this is the most important thing in my life right now, I will look into like, okay, we're going to get you broccoli, but we're going to make sure all your foods are organic. And broccoli's hard because it's a cruciferous vegetable and you got to cook it with having a thyroid disorder, but broccoli's my go-to. I cook it and I eat it all the time. And I crave it, which is really weird. So, and then after that, it's like, okay, you wanted my fitness plan as well. I talk with my hands, so they're all over. It's like, what are you? Are you sedentary? What's your weight? Are you obese? When was the last time you worked out? I get personal. I really do. If a woman's going through menopause, I expect her to tell me, look, I'm going through menopause, because that increases the aches and the pains. And do we start out slow, just walking? Do we actually put 5-pound weights and put you in a chair and try and get a little bit of upper body workout to strengthen? A lot of women carry that weight in the midsection because they have had babies. Okay, have you had a C-section? Did you have miscarriages? Did you have complications in your pregnancy that's causing something in your midsection to continuously enlarge instead of decrease? So I get personal, and I want to know them as a friend, not as a client. Because as a client, they'll feel like I'm just here for money. As a friend, she genuinely cares. Like, she's here for all the right reasons. And when my husband's at home being an ass because he doesn't understand why I'm in bed and I'm in so much pain, I'll get an email. What can I do? What can I say to my husband? How can you help me? And there's a great book out called You, Me, and Hypothyroidism. I suggest it to my clients because it's about me. And then it gives them ideas in that book. Make that man sit down, or woman sit down and read that book, because it gives you so much insight onto what you're feeling on the day to day. Don't be ashamed and don't feel sorry for having a disease that's not curable. We can band-aid it, but it's not curable yet.
Yet, no, it's definitely not. So I didn't actually know that you can't have broccoli unless if you cook it.
Yes.
I didn't actually know that. That's what other things?
Like broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts. I eat those all the time. I love my vegetables. Grew up on a farm with a huge garden. You have to cook them because you have to cook. I can't remember the word. It's lost me right now, but you have to cook them. I eat a lot of raw carrots. Raw carrots are great. Mushrooms are great. Tomatoes, I only eat Roma tomatoes because of all the seeds in the skin.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what else. I eat a lot of fish. I eat a lot of salmon. I eat a lot of cod because of the omegas in the salmon. That really helps as well. Now, I went from having a full head of curly hair to I lost a lot of my hair. So I went and paid to have hair put in because I needed my self-confidence. Because when I looked in the mirror, I was angry and I was sad. But you're losing your hair and they're telling you, well, collagen or biotin. Neither one of those helped me. Neither one of them helped me. I went to my doctor and they're like, there's nothing. We've given you everything. So for whatever reason right now, I'm still struggling with the hair. But because I have like given myself extensions, my beautician is able to put all the stress on my extensions. So now my hair is growing. I just took the stress off of my actual hair. So, I mean, if women are out there bleaching their hair like crazy and they're wondering why it's falling out, let's stop for a little bit. And I asked them about that too, because they're like, my hair's falling out in the handfuls. Are you bleaching? Are you over styling? Let it be natural. Let it be natural for a little bit. You may not like it. It's okay. You're healing yourself.
It's crazy, isn't it? The things that we put ourselves through just to be part of the pact sort of thing.
Exactly.
And it shows a lot more when you have issues and you have problems with your health.
Mm-hmm.
The sort of stress that you put your bodies through when trying to look presentable. So when your hair loss was obviously a lot worse than what it is now, how did that feel daily?
It was part of my depression. I had a full head of really thick curly hair, and then I went to nothing. It won't grow anymore. It's literally stops at one length when it grows. It's super, super thin. I feel like I'm a 2-year-old all over again with my hair just coming in.
Yeah. So onto a little bit more of a positive note. Going from that. How many lives have you changed so far? How many people have you changed for the better?
Well, I just started. COVID really made me dig into putting this into a business. So I've talked with about 15, 20 people. I've been with a health and wellness company for 4.5 years. So I started with this health and wellness company, selling weight loss supplements and things like that 4.5 years ago. So I was helping people along the way there. I was constantly giving them advice because if somebody is like, oh, my client has hypothyroidism, they'd send them to me for advice. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to make this a business now. So I've had 15 to 20 clients since middle of last year when I really put my life into everything. But before that, I was just helping them for free. And I don't have a number for that. But I wasn't going as in depth. It's like, try not having bread for all 3 meals. Let's see what happens. The little tips and tricks that I learned along the way, I would share.
So, okay, obviously you can't put a ballpark figure on how many people's lives you have impacted and changed over the years of doing it for free as well now as a business. But let's just say that you've changed many lives and how does that feel for you to be able to share the stuff that you've learned so far and help others on their journey as well?
At first I was angry. I was so angry. I'm like, why am I the one? I'm active and I love life. And why am I the one that's now, what did I do wrong that I'm suffering with this disorder? And then I learned to grasp it. And then I learned to make the changes. And then I'm like listening and watching. And now I'm amazed by how I get to help people and they get to grow from learning from me. So it's done a lot for me because I do suffer from severe anxiety. I have suffered from the depression, but this has helped me to grow and to come out of my shell and to be like, look, you have a story and your story will, even if it's 1 out of 100 people, your story will change someone's life.
It definitely will. You have got a story, a very interesting and emotional story. So what's next? So obviously you've got to grow this business.
Absolutely.
And help many people change their lives on their journey as well. But apart from growing this business to where you want it to be, what's next on the list?
I'm actually home staging, which means, like if you're putting your house on the market, I will go in and stage it and make it beautiful for the photographer. And I'm also going to get my real estate license. So I'm very passionate about 2 separate things right now. And both of them are part of transformation. I volunteer at my local rescue. I love my dogs, which is part of how I got my name. I have an American bully and I'm actually adopting my foster next week. So I'm going to have an old English bulldog. So my company name is No Bull. The bull is my dogs because that is who got me through so much is my dogs. So No Bull Fitness and Nutrition Coaching. And I actually encourage others, if you can foster, if you can volunteer, put an animal in your life. If you can't have one at home, go volunteer. It will change your outlook because on my bad days, I have to take them outside. I have to. I can't let them use the house to go potty. I have to take them outside. So from there, I'm going to grow and I'm going to encourage and I'm going to keep learning and studying. And if I'm lucky, I'll find a way to really heal people. But I'm going to heal with my heart right now and my encouragement and my excitement and give them a meal plan and give them a workout plan and just be that voice in their head. They're like, if Andi can do it, I can do it. If she can do it, I can do it. I'm losing my mind. I'm going to call Andi. I'm going to text her. I'm going to send her an email. I need her to tell me I'm going to be okay. So my biggest thing right now is just to support that one person that needs it, or the 50 people or whoever that's like, I'm falling apart. Where do I go from here?
So guys, if you visit michaelelisonline.com/go/Andi, that will take you over to Andi's website. What are some of the things that you've got on your website that they can? I mean, I know there's a calendar link to book a consultation call with you. Is there anything else on there?
There's a consultation. You can book that. It gives some pricing for like my meal plan, my fitness plan, and the combination. I'm actually looking into getting swag. Just like some hoodies, some t-shirts, coffee cups, whatever. And I'm trying to figure out exactly what route I want to grow. I think I do have a link on there for the supplements I sell. Not that I'm like encouraging anybody to be on my supplements that I stand behind, but I think that link is also on there to take a look. But I'm looking to personally grow, and I need to add the link to the book that I just suggested because it's helped me so much that I'm pretty sure it'll help others.
Of course it will. If it's helped you, it's going to help others as well. There's
right.
No two ways about that. So once again, guys, that is if you visit michaelelisonline.com/go/Andi, the link's down there in the description as well. And if you're listening on the podcast at a later date, then it will be in the show notes too. Head yourself over to there, check her website out. Book a consultation if you feel like you're up to it and you are a person that suffers from this and you are struggling, please reach out to her. She's doing an amazing job. It's been lovely having you on the show, Andi. Is there anything else you would like to finish?
No, like you said, go to my website. Ask me questions. If you don't know if this is for you, send me an email. I'll let you know if we can work together. I'll let you know how I can support you. Don't be ashamed of your current journey. Be excited for what's next.
I love that. Don't be ashamed of your current journey. Be excited for what's next. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for watching the replay, and thank you for listening on the podcast.